There you go.
Easy.
And I've got Olivia's little thing on the side there. I don't know if that is able to be gone away or not, but we'll continue on anyway. She's probably keeping an eye on
in the recording it won't pop up. So.
Okay.
Fantastic. So David, or Dave, do you prefer Dave or David?
My mum calls me David. Actually, embarrassingly, she calls me Doodlebug. Yeah, if you call me David, I'll think you're my mum. So yeah, Dave is good.
Dave. Yeah, well, my mother calls me Martin, and I'm Marty, so there you go.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. And whereabouts in the world? I assume you're in London, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I've got my little studio here in London.
It does look familiar because I was just watching your COVID post that you made.
Oh, right.
I ended up, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning here in Auckland, and I woke up at like 4:30, and I was all fired up, and I started watching them, and they were just fantastic. So.
Oh, where you're in Auckland, you said?
Yeah, New Zealand.
Canada or something. Cool. Oh, wicked.
So it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I got up and got dressed special just for you.
Yeah, you're looking very well dressed. You don't sound like you're from Auckland, though.
Well, no, I moved here from the United States about 26 years ago. But believe it or not, I was actually born outside of London in Aldershot.
Whoa. Okay, so you've been literally around the world.
But I'm basically American.
Wicked. Where in America?
I moved here from Rochester, New York, which is upstate New York.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Near Toronto.
Wicked.
Yeah. Have you been there?
I've been through it.
That's the best way to go.
Yeah. No, it seems really nice. I like New York as a state. The city's cool, but the state's actually beautiful once you get outside the city.
It is very much so. And you guys were here in Auckland, like 2017, you played the Laneway Festival, right?
Yeah. Wow, that was wicked. That was great.
It? What do you remember about the experience?
I remember it was before we went on stage, like I think we were playing in the afternoon sometime, maybe like 4 o'clock or something. And Joe, our drummer, decided to go and sit by the swimming pool, and he fell asleep at this is probably like 11 a.m. And he woke up 2 hours later, and I have never seen anyone so sunburned in my life.
Oh my God, yeah. You got to watch out. That's the first thing I noticed here when I moved to Auckland was it can be hazy and kind of overcast, and you can get a sunburn in 10 minutes because of the ozone thing. So it's very, very dangerous. But and speaking of your drummer, how is he these days? Because I know he had that horrible accident, and he's kind of back on the mend.
He's doing well. Yeah. He's basically just keeps getting better at everything. He's practicing drumming a lot. We've got him a little rehearsal space near his house. He's getting better and better every day.
Right.
Yeah. Just building up his energy level, basically. That's what he's got to do. Yeah,
I can imagine that's probably the biggest thing. So whereabouts are the other band members? Are they spread out throughout the country, or are they near you, or how is it working?
They're so I'm like East London. And then the other two are Southwest London. Joe and Ed, they live together. Oh. Yeah, it's so funny. It's like The Odd Couple. It's great.
Which one's Felix?
Bicker the whole time.
Yeah.
And Drew is like on the way. Drew's like an hour outside of London. He likes it in the countryside. Yeah.
Very nice. So the one thing I love about doing these Zoom interviews is I get to talk to people all over the world, like Australia, US. Yet last night I talked to a jazz musician in Poland. And so it's a good way to get a temperature of what's going on. How are things in London these days?
Things are opening up slowly. Yeah, I'm going to go to a restaurant for the first time this weekend, which would be really nice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's about where it's at. I guess people are pretty sick of it here. Sick of the lockdown. Everyone's just breaking the rules. Like the beaches here are crazy busy. I'm sure you saw on the news. And the parks here are just like festivals. there's actually like a festival. I went to a park yesterday, and there's like a band playing. There were like 2,000 people there. Like, people are done with lockdown over here.
Yeah. The novelty wears off very quickly. I guess we're lucky a little bit down here because it's winter, so it's kind of rainy and overcast, and
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we're missing I think we had our like nice 4 sunny days that we get per year last week.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about the new album very soon, but I just want to touch back again on those solo things that you did when you were locked down, the covers, the COVID covers. I've just never seen somebody create like that in real time. And I think each one of them was under 10 minutes long, and you're just starting from nothing. And within that time, you've created this whole track, Nirvana and Lana Del Rey and whatever. Did you know you could do that when you started?
You know what? When I had good tools.
Yeah.
And like, firstly, the song, all the songs I covered are amazing songs.
Yeah.
And the people who wrote them are geniuses. And those songs will work in any parameter. You could do anything with them, and it's still a great song. But so that's the kind of first tool. And the second tool is I was just using a kind of classic set of instruments, mellotron and bass guitar. Like, they just kind of go well together. It's like, I don't know, salsa and tortilla chips. Like, it just works every time.
Right.
It's easy. And yeah, but I think that those two elements just make it pretty straightforward. I don't know, you can just kind of mess around, and
right.
I made it easy for myself. I'm not,
but it's still,
I mean, myself too much credit.
I'm not a musician, so I'm sitting here watching you do it, and you just kind of nonchalantly lay down a beat, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's just getting warmed up, but you must have in your head, exactly what this thing is going to sound like at the end, the beat of the thing, how it's going to work together. It's, for somebody like me, it's just magic.
Oh, it's all right. I don't know. The trick is to just keep things relatively simple.
Yeah.
When you start getting too complex, it becomes really hard to come up with ideas to put on top.
Right.
So it's just it's a very simple songwriting trick, and a lot of people do it. They just sit down. Like, I actually write all my songs on like a really basic guitar, and I usually just play like 1 or 2 notes at a time.
Right.
And then you have all the rest of the notes are for the vocals. So it makes it easy.
And you got a lot of good recommendations from fans suggesting the next covers that you should do or whatever. Did you find anything interesting among those?
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, they came from requests, the ones that I did. I just chose my favorite ones. And I've got another one coming soon of I'm not sure when the right time will be to drop it, because the album's coming soon, but it'll be a Beach Boys cover.
Ooh, okay. Well, I can only speculate what it could be, but it could be just about anything.
It's an obscure Beach Boys song.
Oh, good, good.
One of my favorites, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I'll be waiting intently. And you mentioned the album is coming out finally. It's been a while. It's been pushed back and pushed back. As the creative force behind that album, how does that make you feel when you kind of get all revved up and then it's like, oh, and then here we go again? Is it?
When it first happened, when the virus hit, I was really gutted, because we had this amazing, beautiful plan, and I was really happy, and it was kind of based around live music and bringing people together, and just literally tore it up.
Man.
So there was about 2 weeks where I was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Are we going to be okay? Are we going to survive? And then I slowly came out of it and realized, like, a lot of people around, like a lot of my friends were saying that because they can't be out experiencing new things, the future, that they don't know what the future holds, they're kind of going back into their memories, and that's where they're finding their comforts, and that's where they're just re-experiencing all those old things again, and things they've forgotten. And that's what the album's about, because that came from me being in the hospital when Joe was injured in a similar situation. The future looked really shit, and I was in a hospital, so there's not much to write. I was just like worried and clear the lights everywhere. It wasn't exactly super inspiring, so I was just going back in memories to find comfort. And it was just the parallel. I saw the parallel. I was like, oh, okay, so maybe it actually works. Maybe it's...
So when you go back into your memory for your comfort, what do you go back to?
Well, I go back to just those not always comfortable memories. It's more, I don't know, it's just re-experiencing. It's kind of refreshing and looking at old things from the past in a new light. Yeah, I guess, and they feel like new experiences almost. So I was going back to growing up. I grew up in Texas. So I was going back to those days and thinking what it was like, and how that actually is kind of changed me quite a lot as a person, probably, because Texas as a place has a lot of, there are a lot of very particular ideals in Texas. Yeah. And I was thinking how that definitely affected the way that I think and the way that I grew up, and how a lot of those ideals are just complete bollocks, but you don't even think about them when you're a kid. I don't know. So
it's true.
It's not necessarily good memories, is what I'm saying. I was just kind of going back and thinking about things I've said to people when I was a real asshole sometimes, and then really good things I've said to people, and when I might have helped someone, when people might have helped me, when people hurt me. I don't know, just everything.
Right. And so how old were you when you moved I assume you moved from Texas to the UK?
Yes, well, I was actually Northeast first until I was 7. I was in a place called Grafton. Do you know Grafton?
In which state?
Not. It's in Massachusetts.
Oh, I haven't been. No, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania myself.
Okay. Yeah, I imagine I don't know what Western Pennsylvania is like. It was a really small place. It's near Worcester.
Very rural.
Yeah, it was very rural. Really, very, very rural. Our neighbors had horses and stuff, and it was pretty mad.
So do you draw on that when you're making your music, when you're writing songs, when you're performing? Does any of that get in there? Because it's a long way from rural Massachusetts to what you're doing now, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely found its way into the new album. That I was kind of trying to go and revisit what I was doing, what I was listening to, what I was watching on TV. And the album basically goes through life from my first memory till now. And say a song is about being 10, I was going back and thinking about what I was listening to and what I was watching and what I was eating and what life was like when I was 10. And I just pull all that into the lyrics and the sounds as well. So I mean, you can hear it. You can hear my Radiohead phase towards the middle of the album. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, the album is kind of an epic. There's 17 tracks. And I noticed that I haven't heard the whole thing, but I noticed that there are some bits in there that are home movie, kind of 1994, and Rockets, I think it's subtitled. What are those about?
So those are actually just really short little episodes. My mum, when me and my brother were growing up, she had a little camcorder, and she'd just film us and narrate. And so I just took I literally took the audio from those home movies, and that's what you hear. You hear my mum's voice talking to me and my brother.
Very cool.
And she's always been the I don't know, through all the ups and downs and things of life, she was there, and it felt right. She's kind of the glue.
And then one of the tracks that seems to get a lot of excitement and attention for folks who have heard you live earlier in the year was a tune called Tangerine. And I'm wondering I wonder if you can touch on that a little bit. Tell me where that came from.
That is, I really like that song. I guess it's
It's
the only like co-write on the album. I've always seen like our records as like just us, yeah.
Right.
But this time, I was working with a lady called Stara. She's a songwriter, and she's written some incredible songs. And we've been writing together for a while. And I guess time came to write this record. And I asked her if she'd write something with me for it. And she grew up in Delaware, actually. Same age. And we had, I guess we had sort of a slightly similar sense of, a lot of the same references.
Right.
And grew up around a couple of the same things and same movies and stuff, same video games. So it just felt right. And we wrote that song pretty damn quickly. We just had a day together.
Cool.
And it came together really fast. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's about, I'm sure you've had this, where somebody you know really well has kind of lost themselves and become someone you actually really don't like very much.
Yeah.
And you still, sometimes you see a little like glimmer of hope. That's the line, is the main line is like these tiny tangerine things and their speckles in their eyes.
Right.
And those are like little like nuggets of who they used to be. And you kind of latch onto that and you keep going back to this person.
Right.
You think it might still be there, but it actually,
they may come back.
They never do.
Oh, man. Well, there is at least one other collaboration kind of on Tokyo Drifting, which is a track that's been around, I guess, a little while with Denzel Curry, which would seem on the surface kind of an unlikely combination, but how did you and he come to work together?
I'm a huge fan of his. Yeah. I've been for a long time, and I had the beat. I've written the beat for someone else actually, and they didn't use it, so I kept it and put my vocal down. And I've always felt a bit like I didn't have the confidence to pull it off, and I wanted someone who had an amazing confidence about them to, put the icing on the cake and drive it home. And I basically nagged him on the internet until he said yes. Yeah.
And I noticed, from what I can tell, your last gig was like in March. So you were obviously revving up, you and the band, raring to go, and then it all kind of came screeching to a halt.
Yeah.
Did you and the other three guys talk? What did you talk about at that point? Like, how were you going to kind of regroup and start over again?
We didn't know. We just had to evacuate. We were in the States, and we had to just. Right. We were told we were playing at the place called the Troubadour,
right?
Which is where we played one of our first shows ever. We were doing a special tour. We played all the first venues we ever played, and we got told between just before we went on for the encore. So we came off for the main set, and our tour manager and the venue manager came up, and they're like, "This is going to be the last show in Los Angeles for a very long time."
Man.
And then we were just like, "Oh fuck, that's the whole rest of the rest of the tour is going to be cancelled, isn't it?" And we were bummed out, and we didn't even think about really regrouping at that point. We just had to think about how to get out in time, and get back to England, and what to do with our equipment. And it was just logistics. We were trying to book flights, and you could see the price just going up, like £100 every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was just how are we going to get out of here and facilitate this evacuation. And then when we got back, I think everyone was just bummed out for a couple of weeks, and we started regrouping a couple of weeks later, when there was a bit more sense of what we didn't know how long lockdown was going to last.
Sure.
I knew because I have some friends who are doctors. They were like, it's going to be long.
Right. Yeah.
But no one really, including myself, wanted to believe that. So we didn't regroup. We kept everything kind of intact for quite
Right.
a long time, the whole plan. And then it slowly dawned on us, and that's when we tore the plan up.
Yep. Well, it's
Sorry to
interesting
interrupt
here in
you.
New Zealand because it's a much smaller country, so it's
Sorry to
easier
interrupt,
to.
Marty. Sorry, could we just keep this the last question, please?
Sure. Okay.
Thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, here in New Zealand, we kind of nailed it early, and we're kind of back to normal now. But we only have 5 million
Wow.
people here, so we can have live shows and whatever. But no one can come from outside. It's all local
heard.
stuff. So you have to quarantine yourself for 2 weeks if you want to come into the country. And nobody wants to.
You know what? I'm tempted. I'm tempted to do it.
It's not a bad thing. And they
Freedom.
put you up in like a 5-star hotel and treat you for 2 weeks, so it's not a bad gig.
What? That sounds all right to me.
Yeah. So okay, if you can do one thing for me, since I'm gonna play a track from the album on my little radio show next week. Maybe you can intro one for me. Just pick one that you think we should play and give me a little intro, and then we'll wrap her up.
For sure. What about Heatwaves? A new song called Heatwaves. So I can do a little like.
Sure.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just trying to think what I should say. I want to keep it succinct because it's radio.
Okay, sure.
Hey, what's up? This is Dave from Glass Animals, and this is our new song, Heatwaves. It's a song about. It's quite weird talking about it. It's a song about realizing you can't make everybody happy, and it's okay to be defeated by something, which is something that you're not really told is okay when you're growing up, but it is okay. It's totally fine to, sometimes you just can't save everybody and everything.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good luck with everything. Hopefully you'll be out on your own sometime soon, and you can come here and visit. We'd love to have you. Thank you, Olivia.
A treat. Yeah, thanks, Olivia. Thanks so much, Marty. It was lovely to meet you.
My pleasure. Have a
Speak
good day.
soon. Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.